Good evening. I'm Patrice Patwell, and I am here from Maple Shade Middle School. I'm the school principal. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to go over some of the changes that we have made at the middle school this past year, and also what have been the results of some of the interventions that I have put together, and additionally, to go over what is my improvement plan for next year, 2006, 2007. I would like to divide my presentation. First, I would like to discuss the performance of the school in this past school year. Also, number two, I would like to discuss the interventions and the results and what are some of the strategies that I use and what were the results of those strategies put in place. Also, I would like to discuss a year two plan, improvement plan that I have put together. And also, I would like to discuss what these goals and missions of the schools are. What is the future of Maple Shade Middle School? As we know, when we have a lot of changes, is going to take time. So big journeys begin with small steps. So that's one of the things. One of the things that I would like to highlight tonight. There's a lot of changes, and we have to give those changes time for them to happen and to happen in a positive way. When I accepted the job in the summer of 2005, I identified the following conditions after analyzing state scores and data, different data. I found out that these were the things that the different problem areas that I would like to concentrate on. Low math achievement scores, attendance problems, data deprivation, personal problem, lack of inclusion, discipline issues, low reading scores, staff development, and curriculum alignment. The students didn't perform well compared to the state average, and we that's an area that we needed to work on, the low math achievement scores and low reading scores. So I felt that we find reading in different academic subjects, and if the students are able to read and improve their reading, there will be some improvements throughout. Also, I felt that teachers needed, since we have some personnel that are not qualified as don't meet the requirements for highly effective teachers. I felt that by providing them with staff development, they would acquire the necessary strategies to be able to perform and to help the students in the different areas that they needed to be helped in order to improve the testing scores. Also, as we know, the curriculum that we follow is not aligned with the state standards. So I wanted to make sure that every teacher in the school building, in the middle school, was aligning the curriculum to the state standards. The other areas are really, really important, but I wanted to begin with three different selected conditions. And I'll discuss later on, go over some of the areas that I neglected to take a look at. Year one, what was the performance of the middle school year one? Change is really, really difficult, but we have to give, like I said before, we have to give change a chance. In order to have positive outcomes, we need to create a program where we incorporate the different components of the schools to make sure that the school is working as a cohesive team to be able to make possible changes in the future. Um, the performance for the Maple Shade Middle School in the year that I arrived, 2005, was really lower than the state average. So, therefore, because of that, the school didn't get state accreditation and also didn't have the adequate yearly progress. So, if we analyze, let's look at the eighth grade math. The Maple Shade had 64, The Virginia state was 76%. So we had a discrepancy of 12 points. However, Maple Shade had done a better job in the past, but if we compare to this past academic year, regardless of all the initiatives that were put into place, we went down from 68% to 64%. So we dropped down 4 points. And then in English, the students had 66% in the year that I came in, or the previous year, and went down to 51%. So after receiving these results, I had to sit down and analyze what happened, what went wrong here, and I decided to create a plan for the next school year. So, what could I have done differently this past year? First of all, even though I only identified three areas that I wanted to concentrate on, I decided to begin all these initiatives. I decided to invest some of the resources that we had in buying new reading textbooks, math textbooks. So a lot of those new programs were brought into the picture, but I failed to train the teachers to be able to teach the new materials. So as we know, every time we bring a new program into textbook program into school, we need to have the teachers trained. So a lot of these changes, they just happen too quickly, one after the other. Also, as we were having new textbooks coming in, teachers were responsible for aligning the curriculum to the standards and identifying gaps within the textbooks, and also coming up with teacher made activities and finding resources to fill in the gaps. Also, additionally, I brought in a supplementary reading program to be implemented in regular English classes. So that was another resource that the teachers work. They had meetings, they collaborated, they worked together to incorporate these new textbooks into their program. Additionally, teachers receive the staff training, Marsano high yield teaching strategies that are required to include them, and they were required to include those in their lesson plans. And the lesson plans, I had them turn into the administrators. Um, Inclusion of more special education students in regular education classes was initiated. So as you can see, a lot of these new changes, initiatives started in August, and then a month later, I started. Teachers began weekly benchmark testing, so the students were taking all this testing. Teachers learned to disaggregate test data for weekly and quarterly benchmark tests. So the teachers begin to analyze the data and see, what happened. But then more testing was added to the whole mix. And then in December, a second supplementary reading program was implemented. February, teachers create remediation plans for their classes based on second quarter benchmark results. Teachers create individual student remediation plans for tutors to use with students involved in after school programs. So, as you can see, I could have done this better. I incorporated a lot of new changes into the school year, and the students and the teachers were really overwhelmed with all the new reading programs, the staff development. Additionally, I decided to include bringing the special education students into regular classes, which added to the amount of information that the teachers were responsible for. And also added to this is the fact that it didn't provide the students with equity, because special education students need specially trained individuals, teachers that can address their needs and scaffold information and look up for information listed on their IEPs. That way they can modify the instruction. So there were a lot of stuff going on, and I'm responsible for that. Something that I failed to do, which is something really, really important in if you're in a leadership position, is to make sure that teachers work together. Teachers work together in PLC groups, professional learning communities. That way they can analyze and reflect on their teaching practices and kind of tweak the information and make some changes to determine what's going on. In my previous job, we had students from different backgrounds, and the teachers will have these PLC groups to be able to tweak the information and to align the curriculum to the standards and to come up with ideas that they, best teaching practices that they can use in their classes. So this is something that I would like to incorporate in the future. However, we wanted to see immediate results. And I think when we want to see immediate results, sometimes we have to sacrifice certain areas. But I have reflected on all this that went on this past year, and I would like to create a program where the students are the centerpiece and we involve different stakeholders to help them to be successful. Collaboration is really, really important when we want to make changes. We need a group that can collaborate, that is going to share their best practices and ideas. We need a team that is not afraid to disagree. Sometimes, just because we collaborate doesn't mean that everybody's going to be in agreement. And there comes the learning process. If somebody disagrees, they can show you their point of view and so on. So I failed to put together a team of individuals with leadership qualities that they can trust each other, they can get inspired, that they can work together for the better of the school and the students. They can support each other, and that's what I think it was one of the things lacking in this program that I created. The teacher support, the having the students also get the additional support that they needed, and I'll discuss a little bit about that later on. What is my 2-year improvement plan? I do want to create positive changes. Rome was not created in a day, so we need to plan. We need to put all our resources together and strategies to be able to form a cohesive group that can work together for the betterment of the school. Um, I think that in the team that I want to form, I want to make sure that I include different stakeholders in order to have school change. The school being the centralized component, and then having the students, the parents, the principal, a management team created by identifying different individuals within the school system, the community, and the parents that have leadership qualities that can come in and are not afraid to work extra hours. It does take a long time to be able to come up with an idea that is going to concentrate on continuous improvement for everybody involved. Also the school advisory, working with the guidance counselors, working with mental wellness individually within the school to help us identify which are the students that are in need of additional support and so on. Members of the community, so we have members in the community that can be experts in different areas that can come in and teach, bring in real life situations into the school and work with the students in different projects and so on. And also, we can use a variety of businesses in the community, and also other resources such as social workers in the community that can come in and provide the school with help when it comes to mental wellness and bring in information, a wealth of information about the different programs that are available, not only for the students to receive support, but then also for the parents. Remember that in looking back and reflecting and looking at my data, I noticed that 73% of the students in this school qualify for free or reduced lunch. So obviously, we have students that probably may not have real parental support at home when it comes to getting help to do homework, going out and buying extra resources that they need to be able to get that extra help and extra practices that they need at home. They may not have the money to pay for a tutor and so on. So obviously, we fail to look at what are the needs of the students, what are their emotional needs, what are their socioeconomic needs, and so on. So I think by creating a program like this, where I use a variety of stakeholders in the community, I can have what I needed the first year, which is a group that I can provide me, that we can trust each other, and can give me the necessary support to be able to be successful. Also, when we have the community involvement, for promoting interaction among families, administration, and teachers, help families to be more involved in the decision about the children's education. Parents want to know, even if they don't have the necessary resources, they need to be involved and they need to be part of the school. So the school has to be able to encourage parent involvement, where the parents can provide the students with the support that they need at home to be able to be successful. And if they don't have the resources, the parents should be able to call the school and have such a like a community and school liaison that can help the parents to communicate their needs to the school. um, I think is a great opportunity with the school function as a neighborhood hub, where many resources are within the school and can be provided to the different families. Uh, we also can create, educational opportunities for adults by providing a program where the parents can come in and learn different skills at night. And also, family members can share their story. And by the way, when we talk about the story of children, we need to also bring into the picture culturally responsive leadership. We have failed to do this for the school, and I think involving the parents and the wealth of information that that they bring to the school is going to be another positive, and the students are going to feel comfortable in an environment where they are accepted, where their culture is not looked at as something that is a handicap, is looked at as something that is bringing in a wealth of information and experiences. We are all different and have different experiences that we can bring in to enrich different situations. Um, Also, so this is pretty much a picture of what I would like to see happen next year when I begin my program. The main idea is going to be to have a continuous improvement process for the school. And it's going to start with my leadership team composed of different stakeholders from the school, the community, including even students. So, by doing a variety of surveys, needs assessment, I'm going to identify what are the problems. The problems that I identified, those 10 problems before, those are problems related to the school performance, attendance, testing scores, and so on. However, we didn't identify items and didn't select items that are deeper type of problems that can affect the growth and development of certain students. Also, when we determine the root of and the cause of different programs, different problems, and what is driving these problems? Why is this particular student coming late to school? May it be the fact that he has younger siblings and he needs to walk them to their community elementary school because the parents have to go to work. Just find out all that information. What is causing these different absences? What is causing students to come in with very low reading levels? And establish goals to determine what are the measurements that we are going to use to establish what the growth is. What are we going to do with the data that is acquired? How we're going to reflect on this data? How we're going to analyze the process of continuous improvement? And once we have all this in place, we can develop an action plan and just test the results, test the actions. Unfortunately, last year, the way that I incorporated all these initiatives, then my main objective was to improve testing scores and to be able to get the school state accreditation. But when we look at the bigger picture, we step back and look at the bigger picture. There are all the problems that is affecting the overall results of the schools. The reading, the lack of being able to read is not coming from being in the middle school in sixth grade. What happened before sixth grade? And that's why I say that we need to have a partnership with the community and kind of have some program where we can interact with the feeding schools and see what they are doing. What are the programs that they have in place to make sure that the students come to the middle school with an appropriate reading and math level. Um, Also, after we have looked at the actions, we may have to tweak different programs that we have in place. We may have to adapt, make some changes, retest. But the idea is to look at the research, what the research says about growth and improvement, work with the teachers to train them and provide them the necessary support that they need to be able to make those changes, and implement and monitor, look at the progress, have the teachers meet in those PLC, professional committees. That way they can exchange ideas and then meet again in the leadership team to determine what are the areas that we need to improve. And it's a cycle that continues, and we will start seeing, I'm confident that we're going to start seeing small changes by planning, doing, checking, rechecking, and acting, and begin the whole process again. And again, I mentioned a little bit of this before. I only looked at what were the results for testing. I didn't look at the extent that the school values diversity. I didn't look at the socioeconomic backgrounds of the parents. I didn't look at the mental wellness of some of the students. I didn't look at what are some of the issues that are causing for students to be absent from school and so on. So data is composed of many, many different areas, many different factors that we have to take a look at to be able to come up with a viable program that can help us improve. And again, something that is we are all grappling with right now because of all the changes in society, all the things that we have going on. Being able to incorporate social emotional learning strategies in the class, I think, is really, really important. And it doesn't mean that we have to stop teaching. We don't have to stop teaching. We can incorporate those strategies into different academic subjects, different academic areas. So the key is to have the students build community, build trust, and feel comfortable in their learning environment. Is a process to help the students to become self-aware. what are the things that I need to do to be able to accomplish this? Something as simple as teaching students how to use an agenda and how to highlight the words that they don't know really well. That way, they determine what are the words that they need to study. How to work on their self control. If I'm having a bad day, what are the strategies? What are the things that I can do to cope with it? And all of us as adults, we all have the need for social emotional learning strategies, and we have come to the point where we know how to be self-aware of the different things going on around us and going on in our lives, and we are able to monitor those and to be able to manifest self-control. Also, students, with this age of the internet, for them to be able to have interpersonal skills, we are lacking interpersonal skills. So we need to bring all that back by students being able to work in groups, by incorporating problem-based learning into the classes and having students come up with their own strategies, and helping students to get to that metacognitive area where they become aware of what are the things that they need to be able to learn, and being able to work with another group and teach others. That's a main component. So when students get to that point, the job of the teachers is going to be easier because students can develop strategies to become successful, not only in the school but in their future work and also in life in general. My goals and mission for the school are many. However, I would like to look at four key components. I want to concentrate on academics, and doesn't mean the students have don't have good results in reading, but doesn't mean that we are going to lower our expectations. I want to be able to set guidelines where all teachers have high expectations for their students, and given the appropriate teaching techniques and strategies, we can have students accomplish that. Also, I would like to incorporate culture responsive strategies, teaching into the school. And as a school leader, I think I have to be example number one and provide the staff with ideas of how to develop culture responsive teaching strategies in their classes. Every child has a lot to offer. Everybody has a different background, different culture, and we all have a wealth of information that we can bring in and we can offer. Also, the engagement not only of the families, but also develop partnership with the communities, because there are tons of resources that we can use, such as the social workers can come in and work with the students, and work with the parents, bring in different brochures. We can have them those printed in different languages. That way, all the families have access to it. And also the climate. Climate is really, really important in school climate. All teachers have to be feel that they belong and work in teams and show leadership and school pride, and have school celebrations where our small celebrations are going to be recognized. um, and just I think if we put all these components into place, I think we will accomplish the results that we were looking for, and we will get state accreditation. Finally, we need to develop an inclusive environment where we have to establish a sense of urgency. We need to make sure that we include different groups. Our schools, more than 50% of our schools are minorities, and the numbers continue growing. So we have to make sure that we are inclusive and that we bring in teachers and different people in leadership positions that represent the students that we have. Right now, the case is not like that. Right now, we have a lot more um, Caucasian teachers and people in leadership positions that are Caucasian than we have minorities. So we need to make sure that we recruit minority teachers that the students can look at themselves in those teachers and say, in the future I can be a person that can make positive changes for my family, my community, and the country as a whole. So the school environment has to be inclusive. If we don't include everybody, then the changes is making changes is going to be impossible. And we have to make sure that we communicate our vision. This is a vision that we have, and that everybody in the school is on the same page. For example, I know in some schools they have PLC groups. They have all the teachers in a certain, have like a small school within a school, and they work in houses, and everybody follows the same guidelines. Everybody follows the same curriculum, and they analyze the data and they see how they can help their students feel like they're included and that they are making progress. And to finalize, making change is very scary. A lot of people don't want to see those changes that I discussed before, but I think at this stage, those are the changes that are going to bring us the results that we are looking for. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions or any concerns, I would like to open the floor now for questions. Thank you.